On August 27, 1928, the leaders of the great nations assembled in Paris to do something audacious, and some might even think ridiculous. They met to outlaw war. In the grand clock room of the Quai d'Orsay, French Foreign Minister Kellogg-Briand declared that that day would mark the end of selfish and willful warfare. 15 nations signed the Peace Pact that afternoon, and within a year, nearly every state in the world followed suit. For the first time in the history of the world, war was illegal.
Most people don't realize that before the Peace Pact was signed in 1928, war was perfectly legal. If one state was harmed by another, it could demand that the wrong be righted. And if that demand was not met, the victimized state could go to war. The law thus permitted states to wage war and kill thousands, even millions. And when a state went to war, it could seize and keep territory. So states had the right of conquest, and, unsurprisingly, conquest was extremely common.
The idea for the pact came from Samuel Levinson, a bankruptcy lawyer from Chicago. Levinson was an ordinary person who had a powerful idea. He believed that war should be outlawed. He worked with a number of other peace activists, such as Jane Addams, but he did not stop there. To put his ideas into action, he also forged connections with leaders in the Senate, including the famous isolationist Senator William Borah. His example is inspiring because it shows that ordinary people with powerful ideas can change the world.
Once war was outlawed, conquest was no longer legal. Before 1928, states conquered and kept an average of 300,000 square kilometers a year. After 1928, that fell to 15,000 square kilometers a year. That's just 5% of what it once was. Waging aggressive war also became a serious crime. In fact, the main reason that the Nazi leaders were tried at Nuremberg was not because they committed the Holocaust, but because they violated the Peace Pact. If it were not for the Pact, which Germany signed in 1928, the Nuremberg trials would have been illegitimate victors' justice.
Perhaps the most important lesson of our book is that the world we take for granted is less than a century old. States used to behave very differently. War was legal, conquest was common, gunboat diplomacy perfectly fine. None of those things are true today, thanks, in large part, to the internationalists such as Samuel Levinson. Today, when many of the institutions that were created by the internationalists are under threat, it is crucial, now more than ever, to defend what they created.